What's up, Ravens fans? Training camp is here. The rookies reported today, and somebody who a lot of people want to know about is Hollywood Brown, so that's where we're going to kick things off today. Kurt wants to know, will Hollywood be ready for the first day of training camp, or would the Ravens play it by ear? Now, the first practice, even though the rookies are here today, isn't until next week. So, you think we'll see him on the field?
I do think that we're going to see Hollywood on the field. You know, we've seen him working behind the scenes here when all the other players have been away, getting in those last-minute vacations before training camp opens. And I'm not going to get into specifics about what I've seen from Hollywood. That kind of stuff is confidential. But I will say that I think he's making progress towards getting on the field. And from what I've seen, it's been good progress. And thus, I do predict that I think he will be on the field at the start of training camp. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to be 100% just let him go. I think that the Ravens, oftentimes with players coming back from injuries, will ease them in. You know, there's a breaking in process kind of. I started out with individual drills, go to 7-on-7 work before you get to 11-on-11. I think the Ravens will probably do that. They'll be smart with Hollywood Brown for sure, considering he's such an important piece of this offense. But I do think that he's going to get out there at the start. That was always the goal.
Well, that's the thing.
And I think that he's stuck to that.
There's been nothing that we've heard to indicate that something has changed. Going into the draft, all the reports were that he'd be ready for the start of training camp. Then Coach Harbaugh at the end of minicamp said that the expectation is that he's ready for the start of training camp. We haven't heard otherwise, so until that happens, I expect him to be out there. All right, next question here is about these rookies. What's the purpose of bringing in the rookies a week early? It seems like the Ravens are one of a few teams that are doing that. Well, really, the Ravens want these guys to get in here and start working. I mean, it's kind of simple. The Ravens want these young players to get a head start from the rest of the team on learning the playbook, learning about making that transition to the NFL with the off-the-field stuff is really important. And coaches want players in the building. There's no secret about that. I mean, they would love them here 365 days a year. They want them to be here working. And so if you have a chance to bring the rookies in, get them a little bit of a head start before the vets get here, I think that's a good thing. The other part of it, too, is I think it's good for the rookies. I mean, I think this allows them to be in a position to succeed because they're not just getting thrown into the deep end and having to go out there and compete for a job at the start of training camp with all the other vets. They can get their feet wet a little bit, and I think that's a good thing for them.
Yeah, for sure. Last question comes from @UMPallet46, and the question is, what position on the team has the most depth? I'm going to point to cornerback. It's a toss-up for me between corner and safety. I'll go corner. I mean, just quality guys. You obviously have 3 starters, really 4 starters when you're counting Tavon Young in the slot, that could start on any team. You know, with Brandon Carr, Jimmy Smith, Marlon Humphrey, and Tavon Young. Now you go beyond that, you have Anthony Averett, who's an up-and-coming guy who was a mid-round pick last year. You have this year's Iman Marshall, another mid-round pick that's really good. Stanley Jean-Baptiste. You have a lot of guys, Kennedy, who's a really good player. Cyrus Jones, who is a former high draft pick in the New England Patriots and a good returner. You have so much depth at corner that it's going to be hard to keep some really good players on this roster unless you really expand the numbers that you traditionally keep at corner. So I point to cornerback as probably the deepest, but don't sleep on safety because I really like Deshaun Elliott. Anthony Levine is a really good player there, and Chuck Clark is another great player behind the 2 starters. So I think both those positions are really deep.
Yeah, I would agree with you. So that does it for this week's Ravens Mailbag. But as always, we love to hear from you guys. So send in those questions every single week using the hashtag Ravens Mailbag. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.